Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Bolt with your host, Dr. Jeff Tilley. Today's topic, a discovery that's truly Byzantine. Sit back and relax and enjoy today's edition of the Daily Bolt. So, this is actually a news item from the world of archaeology, which I don't often talk about in this podcast because I'm a physical scientist primarily, but I do talk about other sciences as things that are interesting come to light, and it did turn out to be a fairly interesting week in terms of the field of archaeology in several respects. The title in this particular respect refers to a discovery of what is believed to be the Church of the Apostles, said to have been built over the house of Jesus' disciples, Peter and Andrew, in the early few centuries after Christ, near the Sea of Galilee in Israel. This particular project and this discovery is an outgrowth of several years of painstaking work, and it follows on discoveries last year of a couple of tiles that look to be of the Mosaic style that was common during the first few centuries AD, very typical of Roman types of architecture. And I want to emphasize the fact that this is not a discovery that happened overnight and it was magic just like in Hollywood movies. Like most archaeological studies, the work takes a long time. It's very painstaking. It can be years before you see a real result. And here's the case. We have seen a significant result in terms of what they have found. It's a group of American and Israeli archaeologists in terms of representing the Kinneret Institute for Galilean Archaeology and Nyack College in New York. They've been excavating for the past several years the site called El Araj on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. And they've been looking at this because they've been hoping to find evidence of the ancient Jewish fishing village of Bethsaida, which later became the Roman city of Julius. And Bethsaida has been noted multiple times within the New Testament as being a significant city that had been thought perhaps to have not existed and not been real. And the fact that they're finding evidence of the Church of the Apostles, which was believed to be at Bethsaida, definitely strengthens the case that they have indeed found the city of Bethsaida. So, the previous annual excavations at the El Araj site had found pieces of marble. They had found small glass blocks that were called tesserae. These were used primarily in wall mosaics, and pieces of what are believed to have been floor mosaics. And they believed to have found some significant sections of the church's mosaic floors. They would have been buried for probably about 1,500 years, perhaps more. And there's a picture, if you want to Google this, you can see a picture of the mosaic floor at this particular site. And it's mostly white tiles with some darker tiles in a diagonal diamond type of a pattern. And it's at the site that early Christian pilgrims had mentioned, had referenced as being the location of the Church of the Apostles. In particular, the Bavarian bishop, Saint Willibald, in 725 AD, noted that his belief was that the Church of the Apostles was in Bethsaida, built over the house of Peter and Andrew, who were among the first disciples of Jesus. The discovery is significant besides its biblical interest for at least two reasons. One I've already mentioned, the fact that the church and the city of Bethsaida were both thought perhaps not to be real places, or at least not where they were said they were. And yet now there is evidence that perhaps both exist where it's believed that they would have been, on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee. The second is that if the church is there, the rest of the city is there, and then probably also remnants of the later Roman city of Julius, which really came to the fore within the early centuries AD. Basically, Bethsaida, along with the rest of Israel, was occupied and taken over by the Romans, and in some cases the Romans destroyed some of the existing cities, built new cities on top of them, occupied them, gave them new names, and perhaps there is both. So, interestingly, this is not the only significant archaeological discovery of the past week. We come now on to the North American continent, and archaeologists in Michigan have found part of an 18th century musket at what is believed to be a colonial era fort. It was a serpent-shaped side plate, and it was found during an excavation in Mackinac City, Michigan, at what is believed to be colonial fort, I'll try and say this, Michilimackinac. It was believed to be an 18th century fort and a trading village on the Straits of Mackinac built by the French. Originally, the French occupied the fort from about 1715 to 1761, after which point it was taken over by the British, and eventually it would become part of American territory after the Revolutionary War. So, this particular serpent side plate, it's named because it looks like a serpent. It is something that would have been mounted on the side of a gun, and it's a little under 5 inches long. It's something that you would find on a British trade gun. I'm not a big expert on old muskets and other types of trade guns from this period, so I can't really give you too much of a description. But I will say that this particular side plate is the latest in a series of finds at this site. Recently, there's also been a silver brooch found and a large piece of creamware. So there's all these relics from the past that still exist, and we're often in a very big rush in modern society to put up things new and not look, perhaps, back enough at the past. Perhaps, if we were to look back at the lessons of the past, we might not repeat the mistakes that were learned in the future. This is the importance of archaeology and helping us complete the picture of who we were as human beings in past ages. I can't guarantee that I'll say too much more about archaeology anytime soon on the Daily Bolt, but once in a while, something significant comes up, I'll try and bring it to you. That's all for today. For the Daily Bolt, I'm Dr. Jeff Tilley. Have a good afternoon, evening, or morning, and God bless.